So on March 17, 2024, on St. Patrick's Day, I ran the Los Angeles Marathon. This would be my 5th time running this marathon, and I typically use this marathon as sort of a benchmark marathon for myself every year to see where I am at while running. The LA Marathon was actually my very first marathon I've ever ran in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. So the LA Marathon would be something more special to me because it was my very first marathon, and I broke 4 hours, just barely. It was at a 3:59:04. So it was right underneath the 4 hour mark. And so I thought this time maybe I'll be able to break 3, similarly how I broke 4 in LA for my first marathon. But if you already watched my race video, you probably know that I did not make that sub 3 hour goal again, finishing with a time of 3:01:09. It was unfortunately saddening for me because I really wanted to get this sub 3, and I had many initial thoughts of, oh, not this again, or oh my gosh, I had all this hard work put to waste. But those are pretty much all the negative thoughts I was kind of fighting in my head, and it really just fogged up the positive thoughts that I come to realize that there was a lot of things I could be grateful for the LA Marathon, especially the cheering. I had a lot of friends and family come out this time around, and so I thought this made it that more special to me. And then at the end, I felt like this was probably one of my favorite marathons that I've ever ran. So that is something very special to me, and I don't look at that lightly. And so despite not breaking 3, I thought I had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed my time there. And I still PR'd too, so 3:01:09 isn't a bad time. Not that I'm happy with it, but regardless, it's a PR, and I'm grateful for that. You may think that all the hard work I put in has been put to waste because I didn't make my goal, but at the end of the day, I think the fitness is there. And when I ran the LA Marathon in 2020 and I compared the pictures back then and now, I really thought, dang, I really looked different back then. Of course, not just younger, but also I think from a runner's perspective, I was less geared up, less prepared and everything. So I thought it was very funny just looking back at those old photos of me. So on Saturday, it was actually the LA 5K or LA Big 5K where my brother Aaron was going to run it. And I treated that run or event as my shakeout run. I didn't actually participate in the run. I was just running around spectating, cheering people on. And I thought it was very fun, very different because I'm really on the sidelines cheering. And I really love seeing the positive vibes of people responding to your cheers, and they're all very grateful and cheering towards one another. So that was very fun to witness and spectate. So I was filming a little bit here and there of the 5K, and unfortunately I couldn't get Aaron at the finish line because of some GPS problems on my phone. And so I didn't get any footage of him at the finish line, but I still filmed him in the beginning and some additional B-rolls here and there. So before I could go into all the recaps and of the LA Marathon itself, I thought I'd show you at least this 5K event. So I'll let it play.
It's Saturday, March 16th, 5:30. Time for me to run my 5K. Time for Alvin to get his bib. See you at Dodger Stadium. Okay. Yeah. Yo! We are here at... It's just a 5K. Just a 5K. Just a 5K.
Which one is that one? Which one?
Today's shoes is the Triumph 20s. Back around.
Are you gonna go in or not?
Yeah, I'll go in.
of course, is the official footwear and
athlete just finishing up with
After Aaron's LA Big 5K, we went to the expo, which was really close by. It was literally just right next door. And so we went ahead and went in, got there around, I want to say like 9:30 or so, and got our bibs, or got my bib. And I actually got some extra swag because I'm LA loyal, because it was my 5th time running in a row at LA Marathon. So this hat was one, I guess, extra swag I got. And then I also got an extra pin as another additional goodie for myself. So not too much happened at the LA Marathon Expo. I was already used to it. I already knew what was going to go on there. And so just briefly did a quick browse. Didn't go through the entire expo, but quickly picked up my bib, picked up my t-shirt, and went in and out really quick. But after that, the meal I had was Stonefire Grill, and I had the pesto pasta, the tri-tip breadsticks, and salad, and BBQ ribs. So a lot of food, and if you watch my race video, you kind of know what happened. I was very loaded for the marathon, and I felt pretty good that night and went to bed pretty happy. Before then, I had prepped all my gear, prepped basically my pants, watch, singlet, shoes, my race strategy, gels, and everything. And I wrote down my, I guess, race pace strategy on KT tape, because I had planned to put that KT tape basically on my forearm as a sort of a guidance or reference for me to sort of look at while I'm running the marathon. I'd say I slept pretty well that night. I think I woke up around 3:45. Had planned to leave around 4:45 or so, and it took about an hour 30 minutes to get there. I didn't book any hotel this time. LA is relatively close by where it's drivable for in my opinion at least. And my brother drove me and dropped me off, and Google Maps did say about 40 to 45 minutes to 50 minutes, but obviously that's just straight to the Dodger Stadium or drop-off area, and there will be bottlenecking, a lot of traffic there, and I'd account for about twice the time from whatever your navigation system says if you plan to get dropped off. My brother dropped me off at the start line around 6 a.m. and it was a very short walk to the stadium or the start line, where basically a lot of people were there already since it's 6 a.m. and the race starts at 7 a.m. So I did my stretches and did a brisk stroll around the area, just checking out what they were offering. I think they were offering some gels, some bananas, some water, and all that stuff. But I didn't take any of those. I also had my own honey waffle stingers, or honey stinger waffles. I had that, and I was planning to take that about 30 to 40 minutes before actual race start. Eventually, the corrals opened, and I was in Corral A, which I think only a few hundred people were given. So grateful that I was able to start there. The 2:55 pacer was there. The 3-hour pacer was also there. I wasn't planning to follow the 3-hour pacer at all because I knew they were gonna go pretty hard in the beginning, and that's obviously opposite from my race strategy, which was gonna be negative splitting. So I would plan to get through the half, I think around 1:29, and then negative split the second half, hopefully getting that sub 3 with extra change as well. I entered Corral A, walked in there, and I saw Johan. He was kind of like jumping up and down and warming up a little bit, but it was very joyful to see a familiar face right in front of you being cheerful and everything. And so seeing him was great. Turns out that he was able to get Corral A. He was supposed to be in open corral, but he somehow swooned his way in to Corral A. So happy that we were able to run together there. Later, I also saw Isaac show up. He was supposed to be in Corral B, but I think as the time grew by and we were starting getting crowded, eventually he sort of just popped up right next to me and Johan and saying, "Hey guys," and it was pretty funny just seeing him pop up out of nowhere. So it was nice to see him start with us as well. It was actually quite a chilly morning that day. I had a throw sweater on, so it wasn't too cold. So I was able to throw that sweater away, I think around 10 minutes before the gun went off. And so heard the national anthem. I was actually pretty close to the start line, so it was a nice experience to actually see the singer and see all the elites in the front. Just like that, the race started at 7 a.m. sharp, and we were off. I thought the countdown was pretty darn fast. It was not your usual pace of counting down like 10, 9. It was like 10, 9, 8, 7. So it was really quick. Not that I don't like it or anything, but I just thought it was pretty funny because normally it would be counting it slightly slower than that, but not complaining about the fast countdown. I was aware of the massive downhill in mile 1, so I didn't want to go too hot. And so Johan, Isaac, and I all started at the same time, and we kind of ran together for the first few miles. And the first mile was around 6:40 something. I had planned to be like 6:50s. So already starting off pretty hot there, but it wasn't too bad. I still felt pretty good. And then mile 2 came, and same thing. I think we were around 6:30 something pace, which was again 10 seconds faster than I anticipated. So those 2 first miles was already pretty fast, 10 seconds faster than what I've written on my KT tape. So fast start, but not a bad thing in my opinion. I don't think it made a huge impact on how I felt at the end. What was actually very fascinating to me was also how someone came up to me and say, "Hey, I saw your LA marathon training sub 3 video," and I thought that was quite surprising because I didn't think anyone would recognize me, especially when I'm not like huge or popular at all. I'm just putting stuff out there. But to me, I thought it was like, oh wow, you actually watch my videos, thank you. And so I was very grateful for that person to come up. So if you're watching, thank you. I appreciate, I guess, you approaching me and saying hi. So hopefully you got your sub 3 goal as well. Well, not as well. Hopefully you got your sub 3 goal. I didn't get my sub 3 goal. So the rest of the miles beyond that, up to the halfway point, Johan and Isaac and I were pretty much just cruising. We were pretty comfortable. I was pretty comfortable at least. And I guess at the halfway mark, I did feel like a faint, weird stomach movement. Maybe it was PTSD from CIM because it wasn't as bad as CIM, but I definitely felt some movement or some discomfort in my stomach. And so I was a little bit concerned, but I thought maybe I was just being a little bit dramatic, and I kind of just sat on it and hopefully thought that it would just fade away. So I finished the halfway mark around 1:28:30, which was sub 1:29, which I had planned. But I had that lingering stomach weird feeling just hovering around my stomach area. So I didn't think too much of it. I just kept running and I was planning to negative split as well, and so I kind of toned it back a bit because I was concerned that if I went too hard early on in the second half, this stomach problem might get aggravated and make it worse. And so I decided to continue the same pace, and at the last 10K of the race, I would, put in my last kick there. So the way I've kind of managed this stomach problem for the next few miles is that I would run, and whenever felt like I needed to go, I let out like a small fart and it was like a temporary relief. And so every time that feeling came, I let it out a little bit and it felt a little bit better. But as time grew and as miles passed, it definitely got worse. I was also taking my gels and then hydration. Gels were every 4 or 5 miles. Hydration I try to do more often, around every 3 miles or so. And so it didn't get better, but I think I still kind of just pushed through. And I was also excited to see all the cheering and family and friends that I kind of knew would show up in the second half of the race. And so I was very excited to, experience that. And so I did see quite a amount of people. And then going all the way to mile 19 is where I saw the best person, which was my brother, Aaron. He was at mile 18 or 19, where he was going to hold out a hydration bottle and 2 goose or 2 energy gels for me, just in case if I ran out of hydration or if I dropped my my energy gels throughout the race, because I have done that back at the SF marathon. So I asked him to do this, and he was there at mile 19, and he was holding out the hydration bottle. Basically, if you know Kipchoge's Santa bottle Santa or bottle claws, if you know Kipchoge's bottle claws, he was essentially holding it the same way as him. And I thought it was very funny because it reminded me of that, and I probably call him Bottle Bro instead of Bottle Claus. But very, very grateful to see Aaron, and I was basically in the zone. I thought I'd see him at mile 18, but he wasn't there at mile 18, so I kind of checked out from then. But eventually at mile 19, I heard a loud "Alvin!" And so I kind of looked to the side and finally see him holding up the bottle like this, very, very careful to allow me to grab the bottle, but I didn't actually need it. And so I said, "I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you." And I said it multiple times because I'm not sure if he heard me, and because he kept kind of offering it to me. But I think because of how loud everything is and all the energy was going on, he probably didn't hear me until I got pretty close. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, you're good. Okay, good luck, Alvin. Go." So it was a very nice interaction. And as he passed by, I kind of felt pretty grateful for him, and so very happy to have him there, always there for me whenever I run these marathons. Then at mile 20, I heard a very young scream. It was a pretty visceral scream, and to my left I saw Cole and Evan, and so I saw Evan in front, kind of holding the AHRC sign, screaming at the top of her lungs, and then I saw Cole behind her, also giving a big smile and cheering me on. And so it was another one of those moments where I'm like, "Oh man, I'm so blessed," or "I'm so grateful for the running community," and seeing Cole and Evan there and cheering me on gave me a huge energy boost. And so I pushed on. I couldn't really help smiling, and I was smiling for another 0.5 miles or so because I was that happy to see them. So very grateful for Cole and Evan and the whole AHRC fam that was there to support not only me but other runners as well. And then the final 10K came, and so unfortunately I had all these distractions of people cheering me on, and I was kind of on and off, in the zone, off the zone, in the zone, off the zone, and then there was also that stomach problem. And so I had a lot, I guess, going through my mind. And so I had to put in this last 10K kick. But at that point, I think my stomach was pretty bad. I was farting here and there, and there would be some occasional oopsies that was not a fart. And so it kind of just wrecked my mental focus, and I was still going around to 650 paces and passing people. So I wasn't like slowing down like crazy, and I even passed the 3-hour pacer, which was around mile 20, which was kind of surprising too, because I was going definitely sub 3 pace, and to see him at mile 20 and finally pass him there, I definitely thought, okay, he definitely went out hard. And so at that point, I passed him and eventually was, I think, about 1 or 2 minutes ahead of him. I think he was kind of tired. I think he was pretty burnt out by then. So I passed him pretty quickly at mile 20 and knew that he was behind me the entire time. And then 23 came where the turnaround was, and I saw Isaac, and he was, I think, around 400 to 600 meters ahead of me, and so I gave him a loud cheer saying, "Don't let me catch you," and that sort of thing. And so it was, and he was still looking very smooth, very comfortable, and so very happy to see him just crushing all the miles and getting his final goal. And at this point, I also saw Johan. He dropped a little bit further down behind me, and so I was able to see him, and also we exchanged like encouragement just briefly. When you're going around the turnaround, you see all the people you haven't seen. So, which is then where I also saw MK and Haven crushing their, especially Haven crushing her BQ time. And so I was happy to see that whole family just work hard and eventually get that BQ time, which I'm very happy to see. So it was around mile 21, 22 where I was supposed to like start pushing, but because I just passed the sub 3-hour pacer, I thought, okay, I think I'm in the good right now. And I had this stomach problem lingering around me, and I was not comfortable at all. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm already sub 3. I'm pretty far ahead from the 3-hour pacer, and so I kind of reasoned my way out of finishing strong. And so I thought that was a huge no-no now that I'm looking back at it. And I definitely toned it down the last few miles and just made sure I stayed in front of the 3-hour pacer, because that's all I kind of wanted from the goal. And so I just assumed that the 3-hour pacer was the golden ticket of being sub 3, but I think that was a little bit naive of me to think. And so the rest of the miles I was just dropping like 710, 720 paces, and eventually finishing with the 3:01:09. And then at mile 25, Anita was there. I think Anita was back with Cole and Evan as well. But at mile 25, she was there cheering me on. I think she was my last person that I saw before I finished. She was basically giving her encouragement words to go get it. And you can kind of see that I was kind of like, when I finally reached mile 26, I saw like the clock time, and it already kind of said 3 hours, and that's when I realized like, oh shoot, the pacer was wrong, and everything kind of clicked then, thinking, okay, I messed up. And to be honest, I wasn't very happy with myself afterwards, because I realized that I did not put in my all at the very last few miles, and I realized that I was somehow able to reason my way out of finishing strong. And so that is kind of frustrating, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I finished. I'm grateful that I PR'd, grateful that I didn't stop running. And so, yeah, overall was a fun run. Overall was a very cheerful run with all the supporters, AHRC family there cheering me on. And so final verdict was that I did have fun, though my run was not as planned. I thought it was still fine, still fun, still PR'd, and so fun runs either way. Of course, right after crossing the finish line, I kind of went straight to the restroom and just let out all the goodness. I was definitely not comfortable, so I just let it out then. Sadly, again, if I were to give myself a rating, I'd probably give myself below expectations again. And I definitely was expecting sub 3, but still had loads of fun and really enjoyed my time there. One thing I would say that I can improve on is definitely how I eat the day before the marathon. As I mentioned earlier on, I had Stonefire Grill with pesto pasta, breadsticks. And so it was a lot of food and definitely higher in fat, which was not a good thing. And so I definitely could tone that down there. I know I typically had this meal before my long runs, and it was fine, but I think in combination of race vibes, the nervousness of my body before the race and all that stuff, that contributed to probably the stomach issues I had later on. And so I definitely will try next time to eat cleaner. The second thing I say I need to be aware about is a better mental focus and awareness. I've learned that pacers are not always, I guess, accurate. They're human too. This time, I think I, for some reason, really thought that they were the golden ticket. I was able to, brainwash myself to think, okay, just stay in front of him and you're good, not giving a second thought about them being wrong. My whole mental focus wasn't there, and it's very easy to reason your way out of pushing strong at the very end, and I lost to that this time around, which is saddening, but it's fine. I think I still finished, and that's a good thing, but not saying that I'm not upset about it. Training wise, I think I've done all I could on this training block, and actually is probably one of my proudest things I've accomplished this time around. And so I definitely will take pride in this training block. It's a very high mileage training block, and it's not easy. It's a lot of time, and I'm not sure if I'll continue doing this kind of style. I think definitely I've cashed in all that fitness, all that training into my body, and it doesn't go to waste just because I didn't perform this time around. And so I think for my next marathon, I think I'll definitely integrate all these improvements and make sure that I continue to grow as a runner. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I know I probably rambled a lot, but hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I do have a marathon planned, another one this year and potentially the end of the year, and so stay tuned for that. And hopefully you guys are being safe out there and enjoying all your runs. I'll see you guys next time.